Testing, testing. 1, 2, 3. Boody-boo, boody-boo. Hello, my name is Jamal, otherwise known as JG, also J, also JJ, also Jamsie, also Lina. Don't ask. And, and I am one of the hosts of the TEAchers WORKroom Podcast. Anyways, so I have been an educator actually for 12 years. I know I look, young in the face, honey. This face gives us elasticity. But no, I've really been an educator for the last 12 years. I started working in education at the age of, really, really young. While I was still in college, it was not my goal or dream or aspiration. But by virtue of that job, shout out to the Harlem Children's Zone. By virtue of that job, I really fell in love with education, but in particular, educating other Black and Hispanic and other minority groups. So the thing that drives me or motivates me or keeps me going in this industry, because you can get really burnt out, okay? Can you imagine getting up really early in the morning and having to face a group of students, or several groups of students throughout your entire day, in addition to dealing with other adults, to include your coworkers and the students' parents and other partners and so on and so forth. It can really drain you because you're on at all times, right? And you're using all of your senses, like literally all at once, every second of the day. There's actually this saying that says that a teacher actually makes more, and I know my doctor friends out there are going to disagree, but a teacher makes more minute by minute life decisions than a surgeon. Listen, that's what they say. I'm just a messenger. But the thing that keeps me going and motivated is the fact that I am the product of a holistic education. Shout out to Bishop's High School in Tobago, of Trinidad and Tobago, that my high school education, or just like my education period from primary to secondary school, was not purely just about math and ELA and the academics, right? But our schools and our teachers and our parents, shout out to my mom, ensure that we were really developed well-roundedly. And what that meant was that you participated in extracurricular activities. You took advantage of whatever student programming existed. And so the thing that really keeps me going is providing and facilitating a holistic experience for my students. I particularly made an intentional decision to get into school culture, right? And I've primarily done school culture work, from a director of student life to a dean of students to a director of a school, focusing on the culture and the operations, turning those things around to where I am now, leading climate culture and restorative practices at a school. Because I do believe that we have to build or support our students in building these other non-cognitive skills, these social emotional competencies, that they're better able to apply the academic knowledge that they're acquiring in the textbook and the notebook and from the academic teacher. They're better able to apply those things to be more successful in the real world, right? Because you can be a math whiz, but if you don't know time management, or you don't know how to enter a room and in your body language show respect, but also command respect, then, hey, where you going? Nowhere. So outside of education, I am really passionate about the performing arts. As a matter of fact, I always say that my first job in this world was that of a performer. I've been performing since the age of, I want to believe 7 or 8. Yeah, 7 or 8. So for most of my life, I've been learning lines, learning a story, learning a song, band rehearsal, regular rehearsal, dance rehearsal, learning choreography, stretching, warming up, getting up early in the morning to fly, to fly somewhere and to come back at night and to perform and to the holidays so you get it. So I'm really passionate about the performing arts. And I actually look at my role as an educator, particularly one who specializes in school culture, as a performance, whenever I'm doing community meeting or even when I'm running an investigation because a student has done something that broke the school rule, it's all performance, right? Because guess what? You stepping into my office, baby. Now we're in Law and Order. Okay, now we're in How to Get Away with Murder. How to Get Away with Murder. What I've realized in my journey as an educator is that we're all experiencing similar things, right? But because we are in that classroom, we're dealing with those things most times by ourselves. And the other hosts on this podcast were the colleagues turned friends turned loved ones who I was able to share my experience with and find some peace, find some solace, find some understanding, find some resonance, find some healing, find some answers, So I would say that it's a support group, even though it's a podcast, for other educators of color, not just Black educators either, but in general, educators of color. And it also gives parents an opportunity to really hear the perspective of the teacher in a way that's like real. Yeah, we're not, trust me, ain't nobody fake up in here. Okay. But like to hear a real perspective, right? Because I guarantee you, 99.999% of us don't wake up in the morning and say we're going to go stand up in a class of 25 to 35 students for shits and giggles, right? And I live my life by one principle, well, a couple principles, but one of them is that we must always seek to understand and seek to be understood. And I believe that this podcast, the TEAchers WORKroom Podcast, does that. So follow us on Facebook, the TEAchers WORKroom Podcast, on Instagram, TEAchers WORKroom Podcast, Twitter, TEAchers WORKroom Podcast, on YouTube, the TEAchers WORKroom Podcast.